Another gump goodness for you, baby. Doing 3 in a set. Guys. Oh, how you see the title. You seen the thumbnail. And you wonder, okay, what do you think about what happened 21 hours ago when they released this after Dynamite was done? And I'm like, okay. Swerve Strickland gets confronted by Hangman Page, gets Will and Prince Nana out of the place so they can talk. Was the content of that conversation good? Yes, it was what we knew was going to be eventually addressed. That Hangman Page had to address burning down Swerve's home, and Swerve had to somewhat address what he did going into Hangman's home. That is what we knew was going to eventually happen. It was going to happen, and there was no way it wasn't going to happen. How they got this, how can I explain this? Because Swerve did first thought that Hangman was asking for help, but he didn't do that. He had a chain in his hand, he threw it on the ground, he grabbed a chair, and he sat in front of Swerve and said what I just said. Roughly, not word by word. Here's the thing. The content was not bad. Swerve addressing what he did, saying it very clearly. If this was before I became champion, I would have said hell no, and I would have done it again. That's what I would have said. But after I became champion, after I lost a championship, lost people, got beat up, everything, legitimately, I do regret it. Because Hangman made it very clear. After what Swerve did, going in his home and scaring his son, that he made it very clear that his son still wakes up or is so scared that Swerve is just going to appear out of nowhere. He regrets doing what he did to Swerve, burning down his house, because he made it very clear, and this I do quote. What pisses me off the most is that I believe deep down you know you did wrong. You regret it. You know you deserved it. And you regret it. And I regret it. No. Sorry. That was Hangman. That he regretted burning down his house because he knew Swerve deserved it for what he did. And that made Hangman regret what he felt that he did, which was burning down Swerve's home. And like I said, Swerve made it very clear. If this was before I became champ, I would have said hell no. Not in exact words. But I would have said no. And I would have said simply, I'd do it again. But like I said, he became champ. He lost everything. He got beaten down. He lost people. And he did regret it. Now, of course, there was extra bits that Hangman was bringing his family there, but not at the arena. It was going to be earlier. And Swerve understood, I won't be there. But Swerve made it very clear. And this is something I can understand, actually. A little of myself. I try not to put too much of myself in these videos because not everybody want to hear it. But when I was very young, very, very young, my mother, shockingly, the woman was born in the 1920s, had 2 uncles that were from her mother. And they became my granduncles. I grew up knowing them only as my uncles. I never knew they were my granduncles, my mother's uncles, because they were quite young when my mother was born. They weren't in their 40s or 50s. They were probably in their early teens or 20s when she was born, because they were not too much older than my mother. And the thing was, I grew up knowing them. I went to their home. They used to have a home that was in Atlantic City and incredibly close to the boardwalk. Whenever I visit them in the summer, I could literally walk out the house with seagulls like that, feed them bread, and then within about 45 seconds, walk on the boardwalk. That's how it was for me when I was young, until unfortunately they passed away together in their home. They died because of a gas leak. When Swerve said, I was going to raise my kids in that house, and then was going to make sure that my grandkids were going to get raised in that house, that made me think of my granduncles, because no one could keep the home. There was so much madness and controversy, the home had to be sold. For me personally, that was And I knew one of my granduncle's daughter, my cousin, she knew that place even more than me. She was a couple of years older than me. In a sense, I grew up in that place because it was the only place I ever felt that was like a home to me. And the minute they passed away and the house had to be sold and then destroyed, I could identify with that. So what they did worked very well. It made a connection to me personally. And that is what that segment was supposed to mean to many people. Something about that, not just about the story they told, but something that can connect you so you can be able to identify with both of them, with Swerve or with Hangman. But here's the thing. Even though it was well done, and it was the right thing to do to make that video, I do not agree that it was done before All In. I truly believe that was a big mistake. And the reason is this. Let's make this very clear. If they had not done this, and yes, Swerve was still not going to Hangman, Hangman was not going to Swerve, and was Willa was trying to bring them both together. The thing here is this. This should have been done when Swerve and Hangman had the opportunity at that damn title, and it was not about the animosity between the two. It was finally about who was the better wrestler. But we didn't get that here. We got Hangman saying clearly this is a suicide mission going against Moxley. And he wasn't asking for no one to help him. He doesn't want nobody. And let's make it very clear. It looks like they're trying to set that up. Not saying they'll do it, but it really looks like it. But wouldn't it have been better? For me personally, it would have been better. I don't know about you. That after All In was done, you still don't have to have Swerve dealing with Hangman. You still have Swerve as he is. You still have Hangman as he is. Yes, they still have the memory of the animosity they had, but because they both have grown so much, you could have made a special moment at All Out showing that both of them have grown in the last 2 years. Both of them have become different because Swerve wanted to prove 100% that he was the greatest black wrestler there is and become the first black champion. And I would rather see him just be a champion, but I understand why a lot of people would identify with that. And Hangman, he got screwed so long ago, and this situation, he was on a downward spiral since he lost the damn championship. And he felt like he got screwed. He started drinking. He started acting crazy. He started going after everyone. He made Christopher Daniels retire because of the match they went through. And he had finally come to a point. And, oops, this gump goodness is going to be a little bit longer. You know what? This is not going to be a gump goodness. Yeah, I say that it's going to be a gump goodness. You know what? I may put a caveat in the beginning of this before you see it. This is going to be a gump report. Yeah, this is going to be a gump report because I'm well beyond 8 minutes. And the video I'm going to be showing about Evolution that has already been uploaded. Because there's still one more gump goodness I had recorded already. That one's already 9 minutes. I went beyond what I normally would do for gump goodness. So this will be a gump report. But, guys, I would have rather seen that Hangman Page and a Swerve Strickland, I wanted to see them have this moment when we're going after the world title. Whether it was Hangman, who is now champ, or Swerve had been champ. They have both grown enough that this story goes full circle for each of them. Because this was supposed to be about them showing who's the best wrestler. Not willing to go and do whatever it took to destroy the other. But we just got this here before All In. And I feel like they ruined that opportunity. I really truly believe they ruined this opportunity to make this special. Honestly. And I'm sure they're going to do something with Swerve at All In. And I don't think that's the wisest thing to do anyway. Because it feels like it's not really going to be special. Now, I'm sure you're going to say, dude, how are you going to say that? Because they don't have to shake hands or hug one another. It's just they can do a nod at each other and that's it. And they probably will. But what would have been better? For that moment, for them to be at least good enough that they're not trying to kill one another. Or would have been good enough when they're about to face for a championship. And that video would have made the catalyst for that championship. That they both could have said, you know what? We'll never be friends, but we good. This Swerve. I was stupid, but I was so hungry to prove how I had to show I was the best. I'm not trying to start a fight with you, Hangman, but let's make it clear. You were with the Bucks. You had a whole bunch of opportunities with Kenny. Look what happened. You can't blame me for saying what I said and what I done. It looked like it. And you made it clear yourself. You didn't do anything, but if you were in my position, what would you do? And Hangman says, I feel the same way. Exactly. So I had to prove it, but it was stupid what I did to you. But now, it's not the same. I've been champ as you've been champ. You've been redeemed. I've gone through my redemption. And now, I come back to you. And instead of it being about a fight to show that you got advantages I did not, or I got to prove anything and you got to repair all the damage you did to everyone, including Christopher Daniels and everything else. No. We face to face two people who have gone on a journey that now have come back to each other. And we have an opportunity to be able to make magic. Tell me that wouldn't have been better. Tell me that wouldn't have been better, because that would have been a better situation than this. Now, mind you, it goes with their story that they've already crafted. Let's make it clear. This is what Tony wanted. This is what Tony wanted. But I truly believe this was not the right time to do it. What will happen at All In? I do believe that Swerve will do something to help Hangman in some form or fashion. They're not going to be friends. They'll just stare at each other and go like, and that's it. They'll never be friends. Unless it's going to be Will that's going to bring them together and they will finally be friends, which probably will happen. But between each other, they will never be friends unless Will Ospreay makes them friends. Because as you heard from the video, Hangman thanked Will for everything. So this is what I think. And this is a Gump report due to the fact this is 12 minutes and it's not supposed to be 8. And a video that already uploaded, which was Evolution 2, why the ticket sales are low. Not low, but I basically said the ticket sales are not good. Why? That's what I explained it. I don't know if you guys liked it or not, but that's what I said. Hope you enjoy this. Peace.